Hello, my name is Joshua Mugabe. I welcome you to electrochemistry, and we are going now to talk about the Daniell cell. What is a Daniell cell? What is a Daniell cell? A Daniell cell is an electrochemical cell that consists of half cell of zinc rod dipped in zinc sulphate solution and a second half cell of copper rod dipped in copper 2 sulphate solution. The two solutions being the same molar concentration and connected by a salt bridge or a porous portion. So we are looking at a Daniell cell and we are saying it is an electrochemical cell. And this electrochemical cell is made up of two half cells. One of the half cell has a zinc rod which is dipped in zinc sulphate solution. And the second half cell is made up of a copper rod dipped in copper 2 sulphate solution. And these two solutions, that is the zinc sulphate solution and copper 2 sulphate solution, they are of the same molar concentration. And they are connected by what we call a salt bridge or a porous portion. That is a Daniell cell. Draw and label a typical Daniell cell. We are going to draw and label a typical Daniell cell. This is our Daniell cell. We have said that it consists of a zinc rod dipped in zinc sulphate solution, and it also has a copper rod which is dipped in copper sulphate solution, and the two solutions are joined together by a salt bridge. This is our salt bridge, and then outside they are connected with conducting wires which are connecting to the bulb. Explain how a Daniell cell converts chemical energy into electrical energy. Explain how a Daniell cell converts chemical energy into electrical energy. In zinc half cell, that is at the anode, the electrode undergoes oxidation. Free electrons flow in the connecting wire to the copper half cell, which is the cathode. The copper 2 ions are discharged. So we want to look here and we see what we are talking about. We have this side, we have the half cell of zinc, and it is the one we are calling the anode. Here, the zinc, which is solid, which is in the rod, is oxidized and it goes into the solution. When it goes into the solution, it is now discharged as zinc 2 ions. And by doing this, it releases electrons. Now, these electrons which are released are going to pass through the wires, and then they will go to the copper half cell. Now, when we are talking of the copper half cell, this side here is our copper half cell. And this copper half cell, it has copper rod dipped into the copper solution. Now, here what happens, the copper sulphate solution has copper 2 ions. These copper 2 ions, they take in the coming electrons. And when they take in the coming electrons, the copper 2 ions are discharged to form a copper salt which deposits on the copper rod. So now here, our electricity will be flowing through the wires. Electrons are moving from the zinc cell, and they will go and then go to the copper side. And by that, those free electrons will lead to the conduction of electricity. Thereby, chemical energy has been converted into electrical energy. Define the following terms. Define the following terms. We have the cathode, anode, conductor, electrodes, electrolyte, and electrolysis. They want us to define those terms. The cathode is the negative rod by which electrons enter the electrolyte. The cathode, this is a negative rod by which electrons enter an electrolyte. The anode is a positive electrode by which electrons leave an electrolyte. It is a positive electrode by which electrons leave the electrolytes. The electrolyte. An electrolyte is a substance which in molten or aqueous state conducts electricity and is decomposed by the flow of current. Electrolytes can be weak, for example, ethanoic acid, and it can be strong, and for example, we have sodium chloride solution. So what we are saying is that the electrolyte is that substance which can be in molten form or in an aqueous state. And when it is in molten form or aqueous state, it can conduct electricity as it is decomposed as the current flows through it. So we are saying that electrolytes can be weak electrolytes, they can be weak electrolytes, or they can be strong electrolytes. And the weak electrolytes that we have ethanoic acid is a weak electrolyte, and we have sodium chloride as a strong electrolyte. Electrolysis. Electrolysis is the decomposition of an electrolyte by passing an electric current through it. We are saying that the electrolysis, that is a process of decomposition of an electrolyte by passing an electric current through the electrolyte. Then we have a conductor. A conductor, this is a substance which allows electric current to flow through it without it decomposing. So the conductor is the one that allows electric current to flow, but it does not decompose as the process is going on. Then we have the electrodes. Electrode, these are rods or materials by which electrons enter or leave an electrolyte. We have what we call inert electrodes. These ones, they allow electrons flow and are not decomposed by the electrochemical process. Example of these ones we call inert electrodes. We have graphite and platinum. Then we have active electrodes. Active electrodes, these are the ones that undergo chemical reaction as the electrolytes proceed. And for example, we have copper electrodes. So we are saying we have electrodes as the rods or any material which allows electrons to enter or leave an electrolyte. Those are the ones that we call electrodes. Now we have two types of electrodes. There are those ones that we call inert electrodes. The inert electrodes, these ones will allow electrons to flow and they are not decomposed. They do not decompose as electrons are flowing through them. And examples that we have platinum and graphite. Then we have another group of electrodes which we call the active electrodes. The active electrodes, these ones, they undergo chemical reaction. These ones, they undergo chemical reaction. That means that they are decomposed as electrolytes proceed, as electrolysis proceeds. And the example we have is copper electrodes. Study the diagram below and answer the questions that follow. Study the diagram below and answer the questions that follow. We have our diagram here. We have solid lead 2 bromide. All of this one here is solid lead 2 bromide filled in a container, a plastic container with solid lead 2 bromide. Then we have a graphite electrode here labeled J and another graphite electrode here labeled K. We have conducting wire connecting the electrode to the battery and then connecting to the switch. Then here we have a bulb and then the wires go back to an electrode. So that is the diagram. Name the electrodes J and K. Name the electrodes J and K. This is electrode J and this one is electrode K. You can pause the video and try to see whether you can name those electrodes. Electrode J is the anode and electrode K is the cathode. What is observed when the switch was turned on? What is observed when the switch was turned on? What are you going to observe if you switch on this switch? If you switch on this switch, what are you going to observe? The bulb did not light. The bulb did not light. When we switch on here, the bulb does not light. What is observed when lead 2 bromide was heated to melt and the switch turned on? What would you observe if lead 2 bromide was heated to melt and the switch turned on? A gray solid forms on electrode K, and bubbles of brown gas form on electrode J. So what we are going to observe, when this solid lead 2 bromide is molten and we switch on, turn the switch on, we are going to see a gray solid forming around electrode K. And we shall see bubbles of a brown gas forming around electrode J. You can pause the video and try to see if you can analyze that answer. Explain your observation above. Explain your observation above. In the solid state, ions of lead 2 bromide are held by strong electrostatic forces, and hence the current cannot flow. So what we are saying here, when we had our bromide here, bromide, lead 2 bromide in a solid state, there was no flow of electrons because the ions of lead 2 bromide were held by a strong electrostatic force. So we could not get any electrons produced to pass through the battery and then connect the circuit. That's why the bulb did not light. But now here we are saying, on melting, the forces holding the ions are broken and the ions are set free. Then the ions conduct electricity, hence the bulb lights. So we are saying that when you convert the lead bromide, this one, if you convert it into a molten state, what is going to happen is that the electrons are going to be formed, because we said we are going to see a brown gas here. So our bromide will come to the anode, and when they come to the anode, they are going to be discharged. They will release electrons, and those electrons now will travel through the wire, go through the battery, the switch, the bulb, and then are sent back to the cathode. Now when they reach the cathode, the lead is going to be attracted to the cathode. And when it is attracted to the cathode, it is going to get this electron, and then it is going to be discharged as the gray solid around K. And thereby, we will have completed the circuit. And then the ions will be freely moving. Bromide ions will be going to the anode, and the lead ions will be going to the cathode. And as ions are moving and electrons are flowing, then the bulb is going to light. Our bulb is going to light. As the current flows, the lead bromide, which is a strong electrolyte, decomposes, forming lead at the cathode. So we are having our lead. This lead is the one which is formed at the cathode around here. It's what we call the gray solid which forms around the cathode. And then the bromine at the anode. The bromide ions here are the ones that are going to go to the anode. And when they go to the anode, they are going to release electrons. When they release the electron, the bromide ion will give us the bromine gas, which we are seeing as the brown gas around the anode. We have to note the cations that are positive ions. These ones are going to be attracted to the cathode. So the positive ions here will be attracted to the cathode electrode, which is a negative electrode. And here they are going to be discharged. In this state, it is going to be lead 2 ions, which are going to be attracted to the cathode, and when they reach here, they will receive the electrons and they will be discharged, and we shall form a gray solid around the cathode, which is lead. The anions, those ones are the ones that are negative ions, are attracted to the anode, which is a positive electrode, and that's where they are going to be discharged. So you find that the bromide ions here are going to be attracted to the anode, and at the anode they are going to be discharged, and then will form the brown gas, and the electrons produced will go through the conducting wire to the copper side, to the graphite side, to the cathode. We have a clue here that can help us. We say cat at cat and an at an. That means cations are always at the cathode and anions are always at the anode. So thank you very much for participating in electrochemistry. We have been looking at the Daniell cell. Please do like, share, and subscribe.